What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cleveland Browns 0-16 rebuild. We're going through another full season today, and I've been wondering, could this be the final year of Anton Greenberry's career? We've seen him regress now for 6 years. He's 35 years old. Quarterbacks often play a lot more years, but maybe Anton Greenberry doesn't play beyond his 14th season, is this? He's had a prolific career. He's already accomplished everything he needs to accomplish. Everything else is pretty much extra at this point. But I wonder if this is going to be the end. Now, we're coming off an offseason that saw us let go of some really good talent, including Terrell Butler and Julian Wall. And Julian Wall's been on this team for so long, it's weird seeing the receivers without him there. We still have Shadon Underwood. Javonte Mann is now 29 and regressing. So I think our future there would have to be Marvin King, who was a very good kick returner and got some XP that we used to make him a great receiver. And then Abraham Boone, who probably can still develop into a solid number 2 as well. At the end of the day, we still have a great running back in Perry Cummings, an outstanding offensive line. We're still trying to develop at tight end with Darion Hughes and CJ Thorpe, 2 younger players. And then defensively, I like our linebacker situation. Danton Armstrong becomes a starter now on the outside with his superstar development at age 22. We are definitely not great at safety. And at corner, we're 3 deep there after re-signing Ross Fanene and Jamario Mullins. We drafted those 2 in the same draft, and they were kind of depth players for a while, and they've grown into our number 1 and 2 corners. And we signed the vet Julius McNabb to be our nickel this season and maybe the final year of his career. On the defensive line, I think we're pretty good here. We still have some youth with Marshawn Essex and his quick development. We also drafted Marshall Byrd this past year, so I'm hoping that he can develop into a starter and he'll be a focus player. Here are the focus players we have going into the season. We have Byrd and Hughes, 2 rookies, and then Abraham Boone. He's the 4th receiver on the depth chart right now, so while he is 25 with his quick dev, we got to get something out of that to make him a low 80s by the end of the season. We're going to add to our tight end position right now with the 22-year-old Mike LaFell, who already has decent speed and hands. He could definitely be someone we develop moving forward. We also never brought back Denard Ricard during the offseason, but we're definitely going to do it now, as we're left with very little cap space for like the first time in this series. I have thought about maybe trading for a safety, and we have offers now for Luis Dunn. Let's see what's out there. We could afford to move him because we have a young defensive lineman behind him. We're getting offers here. The Vikings are actually offering us an 81 overall guard and 2 selections, but other teams are offering up some higher picks. We could get a 2nd rounder from the Rams or the 49ers. Their offer's pretty enticing. Wow, I cannot believe that they didn't accept that. I'm trying to get Quinn Evans right now. I just wanted to see what San Francisco had. They had a great safety fit here, and I'd give up Dunn in the 2, but they value Evans too much to do that. Wow, we have 3 injuries already here in the preseason. And it's Joseph Chung now who's going to be out for 8 weeks. Alright, we normally don't see this many injuries in the preseason in this rebuild. So that hurts our offensive line going forward. And Leonard Charleston, so that's some of our depth getting hurt. I know the Vikings offered us a guard, but I checked and he is slow development, so that's not going to happen. I'm still trying to get this deal done, and it's going to take that 2nd round pick. If we have Luis Dunn, it needs to include our 2nd round pick. Can't do it any other way unless there's a player that exceeds the value of that 4. Alright, it took a lot to get this done, but the trade has been made. I know it's giving up a lot here for Quinn Evans. I'll show you his ratings in a moment. The 2nd round pick, the 2nd round is terrible anyway, so the 2nd round isn't that valuable. The 4, we had 2 4s already, so now we get a big upgrade at safety with a player who can still develop, and we get to play our young defensive end instead of Luis Dunn. And I think that makes our offense better, or our defense better, even if it cost us some picks moving forward. So, Quinn Evans, 90 speed, 90 zone coverage, and only 26 years old. So I think it's a good addition for us. We needed the safety for sure. and hopefully he can help us out. That means that Marshall Byrd becomes the starting left end, and I think he'll match Luis Dunn's overall rating within a couple sims here. Preseason's over, everybody, and Anton Greenberry finished with 4 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. His last couple preseasons haven't been too good. We see the numbers, though, for young quarterback Charles Backus are actually pretty solid, considering this is kind of against backup competition, I guess, but it's still very good for his development here, as maybe he's the quarterback after Greenberry. We haven't had to cross that bridge at all in this series, but we do see the play dropping off for Anton Greenberry, for sure. You can't ignore it. Bradley Coakley now 3 touchdowns on the ground, with Perry Cummings getting 4.9 a carry, both with 6 broken tackles. Then for receiving, Abraham Boone does well, and Spencer Morris in his return to Cleveland, he also contributes well in the preseason. Defensively now, hey, there are some sacks. Marshawn Essex, 3.5. It's good to see so many players also at least get registered a stat here. So I'm hoping that our young defensive line finally lives up to the hype this year. Julius McNabb picks off a couple, and Danton Armstrong, now a starter, he got active here for sure. Here are the final moves to end preseason. Had to release a number of backup safeties because I had about 10 on the roster. That wasn't ideal. And then Cooper Knapp goes to the practice squad. We do sign another defensive tackle for some added depth. That's Perry Newkirk. And I think we're about ready to start the season. Still, I can make Perry Cummings even better. Let's add to stiff arm. He got stronger this offseason. We'll also increase vision. And he's like 117 overall now. We start the season on the right foot, winning on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals. But you see our offense, we didn't put up the big numbers that we're kind of used to seeing. And it wasn't the passing game that really took a step back. Anton Greenberry, 3 scores, 290. His completion percentage was 60. Pretty solid day, although allowing 4 sacks. That's really weird for this series. On the ground, though, they hold Perry Cummings to only 40 yards. In the air, who the touchdowns go to? Oh, that's what Perry Cummings was doing. It wasn't a bad game for him at all. He was busy catching the football. All right, then. And how about our new addition at safety, Quinn Evans, getting his first interception as a Brown. Then we beat the Baltimore Ravens, but again, not many yards from the offense. We're still under 400 in both games. 3 more touchdowns for Anton Greenberry, trying to slow down the talk that he's nearing the end of his career. On the ground, Perry Cummings, 75 and a score this time. That's pretty solid, considering 15 carries. And in the air, Shadon Underwood, not exactly putting up the huge numbers, but he does score. And so does Marvin King. That's great to see. Lawrence Glears is at 32 tackles through 2 games, so I think he still has plenty of time to rack up production. And the sack goes to DeJuan Hull, who's now a 90 overall. This is actually going better than I thought it would. We're 3-0, and we're not even getting huge production from the offense. That means the defense is making some good changes. We got a touchdown here for Anton Greenberry, and only one this time. Bradley Coakley finds the end zone. In the air, Shadon Underwood heard me. He gets the big game this time, 25 yards of reception. He did have one of 65 yards and 86 after the catch. Nicely done. And for the defense, interception for Glears and Ross Fanene. We do drop our first game of the season to the LA Rams, despite having better yards than in most of our games. I think our running game is definitely down a little bit without our healthy offensive line at full strength. Oh wow, Preston Tant played against us here. He was the backup to Anton Greenberry for a while. He didn't have a very good game either, and they still won. Greenberry, I can't believe that he gets these numbers, Tant gets these numbers, and we lose the game. What happened? And they had a running back fumble. Perry Cummings gets a touchdown. How about in the air? Underwood, big day. Nice game here from Marvin King. I just wonder how we lost this game. 3 sacks there, one of them for us. It's Gregory Anthony. And then a pick for Mullins. Was there like a special team score or something? No, just a strange game. I'm not sure how we lost. Now here's the offense that we're used to. 45 points. That's more like it. 4 touchdowns for Anton Greenberry on just 171 yards. They made it easy on him today. Daniel Walsh had 370 yards, but Perry Cummings, a $141 and 2 touchdowns, 80 yards after contact, and a run of 69 yards. How about in the air? We got Underwood scoring again, 5 catches, 20 yards, and Javonte Mann with the hat trick. Not bad. Defensively, are we getting sacks yet? Gregory Anthony does get 2. I didn't want to sign him to a big contract after last year and have him go back down. No sense in rushing back Joseph Chung. I don't like the big decisions and how they're handled in Madden. It's too much of a risk for too little of a reward because they're not even the same player anymore when they have like minus 15 to strength and speed. We're off to a good start this season. We beat the Baltimore Ravens 28-17, and we have first place in the division right now. We have Anton Greenberry 2 scores and 2 interceptions, and Perry Cummings held to just 83 yards in this one. No 141 this time. Scores again for Mann and Underwood. I think Mann leads the team right now with 5 or 6. And then I see Marshall Berg got 2 sacks. That's awesome. That'll help his development out. Oh, now Jamal Coples is out and his season is over. That's a 20-week injury for our 99 overall tackle. Wow, how do you come back from that? It really says a lot about this offensive line that we can lose Jamal Coples, who's a 99 overall, and we're still left with a really good offensive line. Spencer Chase is an 88 or an 85. Joseph Chung, 95. Charles McCarron, 91. Jared Yount is an 80. And Marshall Boyd, he's an 88, and now he's going to get some more playing time. It'll help out his development even more so. He's only 22 years old and an 88 overall. So, yeah, that's one area where we had plenty of depth. We're 6 games in, 5-1 on the season. It's a good time to check on the contract demands for this year. And it starts with DeJuan Hall. It's his year. And Gregory Anthony, that's right, it was a franchise tag. It wasn't a long-term extension. Julius McNabb, Spencer Chase, might let him go at 33 years old finally. Javonte Mann, I'll probably let him go in favor of our younger receivers. Same with Bradley Coakley. Derek Haynes, not sure because his numbers have dropped off since his excellent rookie season. Let's take a look at those right now. As a rookie, I was nervous, and he was excellent. And then we see the percentage drop in his second year. He missed 3 kicks here in his third year. It's not bad, but now he's already missed 2 this season. So I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is. He has attempted 4 over 50, missed 2 of them in his career. He was very good as a rookie, but since then, very hit or miss. If I want Marvin King to be one of our receivers for the future, I need to re-sign him at some point. So the main thing is getting the funds necessary to hopefully keep both Hull and Anthony. I think if I had to pick between the two, I'd go DeJuan Hall. He's a higher overall player. He's a little bit younger, and I'm a little bit more confident he'll keep producing at a high level, whereas some of these pass rushers will give you some really bad seasons. Getting an idea now of the pass rushers in this class, just in case. Whistler Wright, he's going to be an early round pick, and probably too early for us. We have some mid-round options here who are decent, but if we're talking about maybe replacing Anthony, it's going to take some more impact, and I'm not finding it yet. Rodriguez Blake would be great, but he's another early first-round prospect. It can be hard to fill some of these needs if you don't pick early in the round, and I haven't been very good about trading up in the first round. This year has been really tough. Now DeJuan Hall gets hurt. It's really testing the depth of this defense, or the depth of this team. As we are 6-1 now, we did just defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 34-10. So DeJuan Hall, he'll come back later this year. He's not going to be on the injured reserve like we have with Joseph Chung, but it's going to force another backup into play. Anton Greenberry, 3 touchdown passes. And they went to Shaydown Underwood, Marvin King, and Bradley Coakley gets a receiving touchdown. Lots of tackles here for Lawrence Glears, and an interception. He has a lot of those in his career. I should check on his career marks. Despite the injuries, the Browns keep winning. We're now 7-1 on the season. There's been less drama this year. I know that last year it was the 0-2 start, and I definitely hyped that up to be more than it was meant to be, as we ended up going to the Super Bowl anyway. That was also with Perry Cummings injured. So, yeah, things are going smooth right now for this team. This is actually more successful than I thought it was going to be because Anton Greenberry is getting hurt. Then you factor in these injuries. Nothing seems to be phasing this team here in 2031. We only have a 21st ranked offense, however, and the 10th ranked defense, so I think we're becoming more of a balanced overall team. At the halfway point, Anton Greenberry is actually on pace for a bounce-back season. 19 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Maybe we see like a career low in picks this year, which is 8. And we could see him top his touchdown marks in the last few years potentially. On the ground, Perry Cummings is averaging about 5 yards a carry with 4 touchdowns on the ground. In the air, Shaydown Underwood with 7 touchdowns. He always puts up monster numbers. Javonte Mann has 5 scores as well, and Marvin King 3. For the defensive side, we have Glears already close to 100 tackles. He could get within striking distance of 200. Gregory Anthony only 3 sacks, so that's disappointing. Glears, meanwhile, leads the team with 3 interceptions. Glears has 27. That's pretty good for a linebacker, especially one that's more of a run-stopping, dominant player, and his speed is going down and whatnot. So to see him at 27 is pretty cool. Julius McNabb got interception number 50 with us. I was hoping Francis Goodwin would eventually get there, but he got very close. Who got hurt now? This time it's Marshawn Essex. He's out for 5 weeks. The depth once again tested here in Cleveland. But we just keep winning anyway. 35-21, we defeat the Buffalo Bills. We got 3 quarterbacks throwing touchdowns in this game, including Brian Davenport. Perry Cummings scores, and so does Bradley Coakley a couple times. Shaydown Underwood, 105 in the air. And defensively, come on, any sacks? 1 for Anthony, that's better. McNabb now 51 in his career. And the way things are looking, the Browns are probably headed to the playoffs yet again. Our division is not very good, and we could wrap this thing up in just a few sims. Well, we're not quite invincible. We do lose to the Indianapolis Colts 38-35. Defense gives up a lot of points in this one. And we allowed 3 touchdowns to Patrick Nichols, while Greenberry threw 2 of them with 362 yards. Pretty good. But we were outclassed in the running game, it appears. And wow, Marshall Nande with a big receiving day on our defense. I'm not sure how we let that happen. Perry Cummings did have a receiving touchdown in there, but unfortunately the defense now has their worst game of the season. Okay, is there some cause for concern now? Again, we lose, giving up a lot of points. It was 38-35 in the previous game, now 38-37. We lose with 550 yards of offense. Greenberry throws for 431. He can't do a whole lot more than that. Perry Cummings, 2 touchdowns. Thomas Word, okay, it's the run defense. Without Essex, now things are tough. Underwood, 161. Whoa, the tight end gets 120 on us? Alright then. We definitely need to shore up this depth. I hope that we have our players coming back from injury soon. Rashad Scipio is playing a bunch now in place of Danton Armstrong, or Dwan Hull rather. And we've never even seen him play before. He got a pick though, that's pretty cool. Hull is still going to miss 3 games and Essex 2, so it's not terrible. They'll come back in time for the end of the year, but I'm hoping that we still, I don't want us to fall in seeding because of this situation. Oh wow, Scipio became Defensive Player of the Week. That's pretty cool. Rashad Scipio is a 27-year-old linebacker, and what has he done throughout his career? He has mostly played this year because of injury. So there we go. He had the best game of his career. And originally he entered this league undrafted in 2026. Okay, big matchup here. We've lost 2 games in a row. Now we take on the 9-2 Seattle Seahawks. This is where we need to bounce back. And the Browns were able to respond. It wasn't a great day for the defense, but it was better. And the offense, phenomenal. 369 yards for Anton Greenberry, but we're still giving up some big numbers to opposing quarterbacks. Nearly 400 in this game. And we had Javonte Mann have a big day in the air with 107 on 9 grabs. And Marvin King, not too bad for him, as Shadon Underwood was a little quieter, but still 78 yards is solid. You do that every week, and you're going to have close to 1,200 yards. It's no secret that one of your franchise players may hang it up at the end of the season. Have you given any thought to what happens when he does retire? Who are they talking about? I think I know who it is. Is it Anton Greenberry? It's hard to imagine replacing him, but when it does happen, I think the only logical way to do so is by looking to the draft. Wow, I wonder if they are talking about Greenberry. Could that be one of the stories here in the league? I'm not seeing it under my stories. You'd have to think that it's Anton Greenberry, right? So our brand new coach, Coach Henkel here, is in the first year with the Browns. He does have some XP that we can spend. And one thing I want to do is quarterback retirement influence. I want to make sure we have that package. One more win and the division is ours yet again. Browns win this game 42-35 as Marshawn Essex is set to come back, and that helps out our defense in a big way. But the offense is playing great. Here is your Super Bowl rematch, as this time we win, but it's of course in a game that means a whole lot less. Good day for Cummings and Anton Greenberry, of course. Mike LaFell now, our new tight end. He's the one who stars for our receiving core. Abraham Boone even gets a touchdown on his 2 catches. That's awesome. How about the defense? They do get a sack for Marshall Byrd, and that's all. Again, doctors cleared Dewan Hull, but we're giving the extra experience here to Danton Armstrong. For some reason, it took Armstrong out of a starting role a few weeks ago in the simming. I had him as a starter, and then I think when Hull got hurt, it messed things up and made him a backup again. So there were a couple of games where he didn't start. His numbers are down this year, but he has been starting for a number of games. I want to see, only 13 tackles. That's really strange. You can see he's played in many of these games, but he's not registering many stats. Might need to change which outside spot he's on. We see the downs played here, and there were many where he was just a 2-down player, so we'll swap that around. I also want to get Alexander Torres some playing time because in the preseason, he's put up awesome numbers. I wish they saved the stats because I think he'd be like a preseason Hall of Famer. We are again division champions, topping the New England Patriots in this late season game. 3 interceptions for Jared Goff. Okay, I can't wait to check those out. Perry Cummings, 101 in the air. And Javonte Mann scores 2 more times. The interceptions, meanwhile, on defense, they went to Lawrence Glears again, but also Ross Fanene and Jamario Mullins. Another injury here in Week 16, this time Charles McCarron. His season is over. 38-21, we still get the victory in more dominant fashion, maybe because Dewan Hull returned, but 4 touchdowns for Anton Greenberry and he wasn't sacked at all. It's been a really nice year for him, even if the offense hasn't had monster numbers like we see here from Javonte Mann. 205 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's having one heck of a season here as he enters his, he's in a contract year. Who got the sacks? We got Byrd and Anthony. And the interception again, Lawrence Glears. So at this point, we're not doing great when it comes to funds. But I know I want to keep Dewan Hull, so I will try to negotiate with him right now. I like this $50 million offer. And he wants even more than that. I also tried re-signing Marvin King, and that did not work. So this might all have to go to the offseason then. Once again, we're given the first round bye, and Lawrence Glears is the Defensive Player of the Year. Awesome. And we have one player who has regressed. Corey Sam, our punter, got worse. Okay. So we've reached the playoffs yet again. We get a first round bye, and I imagine the number 1 seed with a 13-3 record. And that is the case. The Seahawks win it in the NFC, and everyone else had 11 wins or less. Only 6 teams in double digits. That's really strange. But we have so much of the league here. We have 19 teams who had at least 8 victories. Everyone was more gravitated towards a 500 record. Anton Greenberry gets 40 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, making it one of the best statistical years of his NFL career. And that's the most touchdowns he's had since 2027, and it's tied for a career low in interceptions. Despite completion percentage going down this year to his lowest in almost 10 years. As far as his rushing stats go, 3 touchdowns on the ground for Anton Greenberry. How about the running game? Perry Cummings, 1,252. It's not exactly the most dominant numbers for Perry Cummings, but he sets the bar pretty high. Bradley Coakley gets more touchdowns, actually. Then for receiving, Underwood and Mann, 2 1,000-yard receivers. Marvin King at 723. Perry Cummings, 6 more touchdowns with 400 receiving yards. And defensively, 166 tackles for Lawrence Glears. We get 7 sacks for Gregory Anthony, not fantastic. And 6 picks for the veteran linebacker Lawrence Glears here in year number 10. And then our kicker, Derek Haynes, 13 of 17, made all but 2 extra points. So mostly good, but definitely not as good as I thought he'd be right now. We ended up with a number 4 offense, and we were like number 20 at the halfway point, and the 15th ranked defense. I will take that. 3rd in points scored, and oh, they're not going to tell me. Anton Greenberry was 3rd in the NFL in MVP voting, and Roy Hinkle in the first year coaching the Browns. He's Coach of the Year. In the AFC, Offensive Player of the Year is Russell Suttle, with Greenberry again just outside first place. Lawrence Glears, of course, wins it on defense. Offensive Rookie is Marquise Porter. Defensive, Frank Higgins of the Bengals. Best quarterback, Greenberry. Why is he always like in 2nd place? And now Perry Cummings is in 2nd place. Brandon Stroud all of a sudden now making a lot of noise here in the AFC. Best receiver, Javier McDonald. Jamal Copels, best offensive lineman, and he was hurt for most of the year. Defensive lineman, Franklin Barkley. Linebacker, Lawrence Glears. That's excellent. He's at 11,000 legacy now. So Anton Greenberry just under 20,000 legacy now, as he's behind Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. At running back, Perry Cummings has 6,000 with 2 Super Bowl rings already at only 26 years old. Wide receiver, Shaydon Underwood is pretty high, but still way behind some of these Hall of Fame players. Julian Wall's pretty high as well. Spencer Chase, he could be a Hall of Fame player before this one's over. And Joseph Chung has pretty good legacy. McCarron's up there. All right, Jamal Copels. And only 2 linebackers have more than Lawrence Glears, and that could change if we win the Super Bowl, perhaps. That is awesome. Here are the career stats now for this series, with Anton Greenberry over 60,000 all-time passing yards, 470 touchdowns. He'll need to play 1 more year to get to 500, but will he play in another season? Perry Cummings so far at 65-60 rushing yards and 52 touchdowns. Shaydon Underwood is just under Spencer Morris in a couple of these categories. He didn't play a whole lot for us this season, mainly just depth. Then defensively, Lawrence Glears, 1,400 tackles roughly, 30 interceptions. Just phenomenal. Look at all this experience for Marshall Boyd. Wow, at 22 years old, he's going to be in the high 90s here for overall, or mid 90s. That's incredible. I better up his injury rating. After this year especially, I don't want to see more offensive linemen get hurt. I couldn't fix Anton Greenberry's throw power if I wanted to, so we're stuck just helping out his accuracy, and we can only do it once. Quite the year for Javonte Mann, who's about to enter free agency after this season. He should get a good deal somewhere. I never realized that Mann was 237 pounds. Wow. I had no clue. That caught my eye right now. That's pretty impressive. Abraham Boone gained over 9,000 experience this season. That should help out a lot. I think next year he'll be in more of a starting role, maybe wide receiver 3. We're on to the postseason, and our first game is against the 8-6-2 Chargers. They tied twice this year. So we're missing a couple of our offensive linemen, but I feel like our line is still pretty good, and we have some serious talent, obviously, surrounding those offensive linemen. On defense, I feel pretty good about things with our linebackers. I like our defensive linemen, even if they're not getting big numbers. They played well down the stretch. As a defense, it looks like, to hold teams to a lot less points than normal. So, it's time. How far can the Browns go this year? No way. No. One and done? To a team with 8 victories? No way. You're kidding me. 31-28. We go one and done after a season like that? The LA Chargers come into Cleveland? 3 interceptions here for Schroeder, 2 interceptions for Anton Greenberry, 54% completion. Oh no. Oh, please don't tell me that's the end of Greenberry's career. Like that? I can't believe that just happened. I wasn't at all worried about this matchup. And I guess those are the ones that you need to be worried about. We even had a punt return touchdown for Perry Cummings, and we lose in one playoff game. You know, I wonder if they were also talking about Julian McNabb in that thing I pulled up earlier. Oldest players on the team. Let's sort by that. Well, it's Greenberry, so you'd have to think it's him who's considering retirement. If this is the end of the road for Anton Greenberry, it's been one incredible run through the ups and downs. We've won 2 rings. It's been a major success, this series with Anton Greenberry. I hope that his time in the NFL is not over, but it very well could be. He's played like 15,000 snaps in the NFL. He has 470 career touchdown throws. I'm afraid to sim forward right now. If you wanted to see his ratings here right now, here you go. Very elite short accuracy and medium accuracy. The throw power isn't too good. He is strictly a pocket passer. And I wonder if this is it. See, this is why Madden needs to bring back the Pro Bowl. What if I can't play another game with Anton Greenberry and all I would get is this? I would play the Pro Bowl and Watson and Suttle would never see the field. Man, Greenberry's a Pro Bowler. They really just snub Perry Cummings. Okay, Madden's getting on my nerves today. We got Underwood and Mann making the Pro Bowl. We got some offensive linemen in there, as we always do. Man, I really hope it's not the end of the road, but it might be. Perry Cummings still made it, though, as a kick returner. Maybe that's why he didn't make it as a running back. He's still a Pro Bowler. Okay. I've got to get prepared. Tell me about all these quarterbacks who aren't phenomenal. This is not a great quarterback class. We do have, of course, Backus on the roster. I'm just, I haven't developed him much because he's not playing, so it's hard to say if he's going to be the one to replace Greenberry if it comes down to it. This button right here could be a very powerful button. Here we go. The Houston Texans have won the Super Bowl this year, and I see Anton Greenberry on our depth chart still. So here in the transaction log, let me go to the Cleveland Browns. He's not going anywhere. Julius McNabb and Spencer Morris both retire as Browns, but Anton Greenberry says there's unfinished business. He's now had a few years removed since his last Super Bowl, and despite the throw power being down to 79, he wants to give it at least one more go. Alright, so that is it for this episode, everybody. It was definitely an interesting one, and I'm really surprised how it ended. But Anton Greenberry hasn't retired, and we'll get another chance next year to try and win a Super Bowl with him before he retires. Leave your feedback on the video below. What do we need to do moving forward with this team? We have about $53 million in funds. That's not too bad. We do have to make some tough decisions on DeJuan Hull and Gregory Anthony. We also got to get stronger so that we can hopefully have a better roster for next year. I know that we went 13-3, but we definitely got lucky in the face of some major injuries. So I'll be back with more Browns franchise shortly. Thank you all for watching. Looking forward to your feedback. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the episode. Those are very helpful to help more find the channel and enjoy the series as well. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. As soon as I post new content, you can watch the new videos. I'll see you all later. Have a great day.